Hello everybody, Bad Weather Freak here. I have another video for you guys as we are getting closer to the peak of the hurricane season. We're now in the first week of August, roughly August 9th, and things are starting to ramp up as expected. Now every year is different, every season is different. You have years that you get a lot of activity early on and then kind of a pause for the month of August and sometimes even the beginning of September, and then technically speaking the peak is the middle of September, and then it starts picking up the activity. Then you have other years where the majority of the activity happens on the back end of the season. In other words, around pretty much half of the second half of September. So in other words, right at the peak in the back end into October. October has been notorious for making storms, develop storms in general. So basically what I'm trying to say here is every year could be different and it's expected. This year everything is pointing out that it's going to be one of those back end years. Yes, we did have a couple named storms already, but they were just my opinion, and some of them shouldn't have even been named. Why? I don't know. That's just my opinion. You know, they if they form and into a tropical storm, they obviously get a name, and then later in the day it just back down to tropical depression. So obviously for me that's a waste of a name. Not because of the impacts, but what I'm saying is because of the short duration. They were short-lived. That is basically what I'm saying. But anyways, the reason for this video is I know I haven't posted a review of the season or anything like that in a while, just because there's not a whole lot to talk about. So now we have potentially something that we need to start paying attention at, and that is what it just became, Invest 97L. How I have mentioned before, Invest means investigation, so that's what a designation that the National Hurricane Center gives it, an area of potential development. And they say Invest 97 because they have before they name them or become tropical depression, they just call Invest area of investigation, 97L for Atlantic. I don't know why they don't use A, but that's beyond me. But anyways, that just happened today, 97L. Now, 97L is a wave that is just leaving the coast of Africa. Literally this morning just emerged off the coast of Africa. But multiple forecasting models have been picking up potential development, and the consensus have been development all over the place, obviously, because first of all, it wasn't even in the Atlantic yet, and second of all, it has not formed yet. Once the storm forms and there's a true center of circulation, and that's when you start getting the NOAA, they start sending planes in to start investigating. That is pretty much when we're going to start getting a better feel and much better data than just computer-based models or computer-based data, not factual. So, but how I've said before, once you start getting consistency among the models, and especially the main models, such as the European, the UK Met, the American model, the GFS. I know there's some AI versions now. Some of them are okay. But once you start getting that consistency, and then that's time to start paying attention. Right now, the consistency is that there is going to be a hurricane in the Atlantic, and potentially a major hurricane in the Atlantic. Now, how strong is it going to get? There's just no way. It's just way too far out. We're talking about a potential of a week to 10 days before we start seeing something a little more concrete. Now, where is it going to end up? Even bigger uncertainty, because we don't know. It's just too early. Once we start again getting a center circulation, once we start getting the feedback or the data from the planes, that is when we are gonna get a really good idea, where this is gonna go. Not only because the airplanes going to the storms, but also because different planes, they basically send them out to investigate the environment. So these type of planes are not hurricane hunters. These type of planes are planes that they fly at higher altitudes, much higher, 70,000, 80,000 feet high in the atmosphere, to see and sample what is happening. You guys have heard the term the Bermuda High. Well, those type of planes is what they see. Where is the Bermuda High? And obviously the Bermuda High is the biggest in the Atlantic, at least. It's the biggest steering mechanism as far as what is going to happen with these storms. Are they going to go curve out to sea? Are they going to go closer to the U.S. or Virgin Islands or the Caribbean, etc.? That's basically, it all depends on the positioning of the Bermuda High, how far south is and how far west or east is. The further east, the bigger chance that the storm is going to curve out to sea. As of right now, again, way too far out, but as of right now, everything is pointing out that we're going to have a major hurricane potentially in the Atlantic, and everything, all the models as of right now are saying that it's going to go out to sea. So in other words, not affecting any land as far as the U.S. and neither the Caribbean islands, actually, north of the Caribbean islands, specifically Puerto Rico. So again, that is just right now. We're talking about August 9th. That is what the consensus is right now. But the consistency, something is gonna form. There's no questions about that. Now, how strong, where it's gonna go, that's the question that we need to prepare for an answer as the days go by. But I wanted to make this video, guys, just to give you guys a quick update of what is happening. If it gets a name, it will be named Erin, which is kind of unusual in the sense of, normally once you start getting into like the I letter, that's when normally the storms tend to be the worst, because normally, based on climatology history, you see that those letters, typically those storms with those letters, they tend to form sometime around the peak of the hurricane season, depending how active it is. Now, every year is different. You got Andrew, for example, Andrew 1992, but Andrew was a different story because it was an extremely slow season, and Andrew, even as you can see, the letter A didn't really form until August. So obviously that was an extreme case, but either way, we'll see what happens. But if once it forms and it gets a name, it's going to be Erin. And I wanted to make this this video for you, to explain you what is happening, what potential development we have, so forth and so basically just to watch. Let's just put it that way. Nothing to be concerned right now, but things may change soon. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like this video, share with your families and friends, especially if you have families and friends in the Caribbean islands, for potentially what it could become Erin. Thank you guys for watching. Have a good day.